Hello and welcome back to another guide. This time Hard West 10 things that I wish I knew before starting Hard West 2. My name is Syken and I do no BS, no repetition, quick and information dense guides. We're jumping right into this one for Hard West 2. Tip number 1, status effects. I wish I would have known how the status effects work. There are 3 major status effects that you should be aware of. Number 1 is bleeding. Bleeding means a character loses 2 hit points every time they perform an action. This only occurs after the action is triggered, so it will mean the enemy still gets to do their action. Movement, even though it is multiple action points deep, will only be considered one action, so they only lose 2 hit points for that. Second status effect, burning. Burning is a status effect that comes later in the game, will deal 3 hit points damage to a character and happens always at the start of their turn. That means if a character has less than, say, 3 hit points and they are burning, they are effectively dead on their turn. And the third status effect is dazed, which you can see here. Character that is dazed cannot use weapons, however, they can still move and they can use special abilities, which is particularly oppressive for some of the enemies that do have special abilities. They can freely use all of them. Tip number 2, the explanation of cover, which the game again doesn't do a very good job in explaining. There are 2 types of cover, half cover and full cover. Unlike XCOM, where that is 20 and 40%, in here it is 50 and 75%, meaning cover does have a substantial effect in reducing the amount of damage that you're going to take. There is, however, a difference in cover that the game explains none at all, which is the whole corner cover that you're seeing here. And with that I mean when you can see around the cover and effectively hit around the cover. In XCOM's logic, that would count as no cover and flanking. In this game, it is a bit different. For ranged weapons, characters will step aside or around the corner, and you will be able to deal full damage and have 100% or whatever hit chance you have. For melee weapons, however, corner cover still counts, and that means half cover would reduce your chance to 50%, and full cover will reduce it to only 25% hit chance. Tip number 3, weapons with cooldowns. There are a couple of weapons in the game, such as the sort of shotgun that you can see here, which have a reduced action point cost in order to offset this obvious bonus. Typically have nerf damage, and they do have a cooldown. You can see the cooldown for these weapons on the bottom right. Here it says cooldown 1. That means de facto you can shoot the weapon once in a turn and then you need to wait 1 turn. Smart people would come to the idea of therefore equipping 2 of those weapons at the same time. However, they share the same cooldown, meaning if you run with 2 sort of shotguns, that is a waste of space. However, different weapons with cooldowns, such as the Derringer, for instance, which is a pistol with a cooldown, would not share the cooldown with the other weapon. It's always exclusive to a specific weapon type. Alright, tip number 4, 2 things merged into one. One is the different elevation levels, the other one is action points. Elevation levels, on higher ground you're getting 25% hit chance. The game doesn't normally tell you unless you're looking into the hit chance. What the game also isn't telling you is that multi-attacks like shotgun or shadow barrage will only hit enemies on the same level of elevation. As you have just seen, we couldn't hit the enemies below. On a more general note, action points would be tip number 4 as well. Each character has 3 action points denoted with the little stars underneath their name, and the main mechanic is called Bravado, which will basically reset all your action points to 3 once you kill an enemy. The matter of the fact is it doesn't matter how many enemies you kill at the same time, so even double or triple kills with an AoE explosion will not offer any major benefits from a perspective of action points. So use your kills wisely. You can move in between kills and sometimes therefore just continue with the map and go further by doing that. Characters generally would be classified as either setup characters, which means characters that use their action points in order to reduce the enemy's hit points to a threshold where they are killable, and characters who benefit on that and will create so-called bravado chains where they continue killing until hopefully all of the enemies on the screen are dead. Some characters will have abilities that trigger off of bravado. Some are active, some are passive. Give you a few examples. Jin, for instance, does have an ability that as soon as bravado is going, he will have +1 weapon damage on all of his weapons. Other characters like Lazarus will get the healing status once they are having a single kill. So look into the characters and really think closely about which characters should be the ones that you put your bravado kills on. Which brings us neatly to tip number 5, story points in the game. There are on several of the maps important points in time where the story of the respective map will progress. In many of the cases, this is either a checkpoint or something alike. The moment that a story point is being hit, typically enemies will spawn, will come out, and you will need to then clear them up. Now here's a problem with the setup in Hard West 2. Unlike other games where there are breakpoints or important story points, you are starting in whatever location you have left your characters in, and the most important part is you're starting with whatever action points you have left your characters in. So naturally they won't start with 3 action points each. Sometimes that means you're caught with your pants down, so be very aware of it. You can catch out story points even if you're playing through the game the first time by sometimes the mission is telling you you need to get 4 characters onto a certain train wagon, so just put 3 characters on, end the turn, and then move the last character, and then typically a story point will happen. That way you are losing the least amount of action points. Tip number 6, luck. The game doesn't do a very good job in explaining it, so here's the short rundown. Luck is a stat that will help you to hit enemies. If you do have luck, typically the game will fill up whatever hit chance you have with luck until you reach 100%. Say if you're having 80% hit chance and you do have more than 20 luck, the next shot will be 100%. Now, how do we obtain luck? Luck is funnily obtained by missing shots, and by that I mean missing raw unmodified shots. Say you start a mission, you have 0 luck at the beginning and you're trying to hit an 80% shot. Then you're missing said shot, you will get the amount of luck that the hit chance was equal to, in this case 80. The absolute maximum number of luck is determined by your upper luck cap. In the case of Jin Carter in this playthrough, it's 133. There's another way of obtaining luck. Some characters like Jim Carter do have traits that allow to gain luck when you are killing someone. Jin in this case gets 25 luck when he's killing someone, and there are a couple of trinkets such as the burnt horseshoe, which will automatically give you luck every single turn at the expense of 1 damage. Now here's an important thing that the game also does not tell you. Mentioned at the beginning that you gain luck by missed raw unmodified shots. Say we're having the same situation and you do have an 80% hit chance, but that is already including luck. So say the base hit chance is 60, you get 20 luck on top of that, and you're missing that shot. Not only do you not gain 80 luck back, but you're essentially losing the 20 luck that you have invested. So luck only happens on unmodified raw shots. Tip number 7, we're looking at movement on the game. Movement is, in my perspective, the most essential stat in the entire game. Characters have a different base speed. Some characters are faster, like Jin Carter. Others are a little bit slower, like your good old undead friend, Old Bill. And this different base speed also means that they have a higher or lower reliance on additional movement speed. Generally speaking, I would advise you to aim for 25-ish movement on your main 1 to 2 characters that are going to be the Bravado chain carriers, whilst the others should have around 20-ish movement. It is therefore also that some of the card combinations, like 4 of a kind, are incredibly helpful so that every character gets a little bit of speed. You can gain speed mainly through cards, but some trinkets also give you speed. Then there is, when it comes to speed in particular, the special ability Shadow Swap from Jin that deserves a noticeable mention. Jin has the ability to Shadow Swap herself with another character on the board, and by doing that she will allow you to cover great distances in a brief moment. So Flynn later in the game becomes almost exclusively a taxi for other characters and will allow not only to take enemies out of really nasty hugged in positions, but also get your characters to the front line. So keep that in mind as well. There are a couple of other nuances around speed. Number one, the riding part. When you're riding, you need to demount. Shadow Swap does not allow characters from mounts to demount, so that needs to manually happen, and it always costs 1 action point. Secondly, there are certain areas within the game, like stairs in particular, which will require quite a bit of movement, and it's an all or nothing. And at that point, if your character has enough movement, they can make it up in 1 action point. Elsewise, if they don't have enough, they can only make it to the very base of the stairs and then are essentially left up hung dry. So that's really it with movement. It's important, make sure that you have enough of it, and then you will have an easy time in the game. Tip number 8. Hard West 2, just like its predecessor, is using a card system in order to unlock certain abilities. Whilst the predecessor had certain poker hands that equate certain bonuses or special abilities, Hard West 2 gets rid of that and then lists every character with a set of traits, and the higher quality of your hand you are having, the better traits you're getting. You're getting all of the traits of lower hands. So say if you're unfamiliar with poker, here are all of the hands listed by quality. Say if you are having 4 of a kind, then Jin in this case would get all of these abilities. Typically the traits range from upgraded versions of the special ability, in Jin's case it is Shadow Barrage, to a couple of damage buffs like Pistolero and Gunslinger, all the way to a couple of, I would say, traits that are niche, either status effect traits or that give you certain bonuses. Now on top of that, cards all have a certain base ability. We do have the diamond row with luck, max luck improvement. We do have the clubs with speed improvement. We do have hearts with max hit points improvement. We got spades with bullseye, aka crit chance improvement. Now, the natural question in terms of cards is, what are the best hands, or what should you build up for? And the short answer for this 10 tip video is you should go for the 5 of a kind hands and fill the rest with 4 of a kind. The reason for that is quite simple. The by far most important stat in the game is movement, as I mentioned already, and the club series will give you set movement. If you're putting a straight flush onto a single character, that means that character is ultra fast, but it also means you're jeopardizing the speed of every other character, and that cannot be compensated even by means of Flynn doing her Shadow Swap ability or having some sort of trinkets that you're using. De facto you're losing too much for the little gain that you're getting from 4 of a kind all the way up to straight flush. That's the short version of it, all you need to know about that, which brings us to tip number 9. Tip number 9, and unfortunately I don't have a game footage for that, is the 5 of a kind tip. So where do you get the jokers? There are 2 jokers inside of the game, obviously spoilers ahead. One joker is the black joker, which would be right here. I missed it on my blind playthrough. Naturally, you will get this in chapter 2 in Trampletown with a quest called Wanted Edward Cullings. Edward Cullings is a criminal, and later in act number 2, when you've robbed all of the banks, you will have the option to face Edward Culling whilst he's playing a game of poker. The natural choice there is to take Flynn, because she doesn't take any damage, or you're picking up Jin, but Jin would take damage and a couple of other negatives. However, if you pick Flynn, then you forego the option for the Joker. If you pick Jin, then you will get the Joker. Second Joker is the red Joker, located here in chapter number 3. More precisely in Devil's Den, for yet another wanted quest by the name of Abraham Burns. You need to therefore exorcise one character as part of the quest, and you have the option to either let it be done by Lazarus and take some damage, or let it be done by Klalish, which can take it damage free. And yet again, if you are picking the obvious better option, the damage-free version, then you're getting basically nothing. Whilst on the other hand, if you're exercising him with Lazarus and he is taking damage, you're going to get the red Joker. A little bit counterintuitive, but still something to know. With both of the Jokers, you can get 2 of the 5 of a kind hands. With that, you get all of the traits of a character, and you can then essentially put the other 4 of a kind hands on your other 2 possum members. That's pretty much it. Tip number 10, consumables. Consumables typically cost 1 action point to use. Every character has 2 consumables. Consumables are differentiated in true consumables, meaning consumables that actually disappear once you use them, or consumables that are reusable, meaning you can use them once per mission and then afterwards they don't disappear, but you can essentially only still use them once per mission. Consumables are great in order to use that 3rd action point, because a lot of weapons only take 2 action points to use them, and therefore you should really look into consumables. I won't do a full listing here about the quality of each consumable, but I will give a noticeable mention to 2 things. Number 1, healing consumables are very helpful at the start of the game. Later, however, Lazarus and Triggers can do all of the healing for you. Number 2, the strongest consumable by a landslide is Dynamite, and later Blue Dynamite. Dynamite has 1 action to use, will deal 6 damage AoE to all of the characters, and will simply be incredibly strong as a setup. You've seen it here. Jin is capable with that alone to take out 10 different enemies. Blue Dynamite is even an upgrade to that and will allow you to later deal 8 points of damage to many characters. So don't sleep on it. It is really, really strong. Bonus tip number 11, Duelist status. Duelist is a status that a character can get, both your characters as well as the enemy. Duelist basically does any single attack that a character will receive automatically leads to a counterattack from said character. You can see this gunslinger there does have Duelist active with a little 2 guns underneath his nameplate. Ways to circumvent Duelist are as follows. Number 1, you can use multi-attacks. Shadow Barrage, shotguns and explosives come to mind, which typically allow the character to basically deal damage without any retaliation. It is really just single attacks. The second way of dealing with it is bullet bouncing. If you are shooting a bullet onto a target that bounces and then bounce it back to the character with Duelist, it will not trigger the Duelist ability. And the third, less known option is standing in full cover. That will reduce the hit chance, and if you combine full cover with basically being a little bit further away, then the hit chance of the enemy will be 0%. The 0% hit chance means that they will not even try to use their Duelist ability, and therefore making it completely wasted if you can kill them. That is, however, them not taking a shot however, means that they will still retain the duelist status. And duelist, you should also know about that, only ever triggers with one action, so every follow-up attack afterwards is not a big problem. Trying to line up trick shots here to hit this gunslinger in the exemplary video, and you can see by just shooting at him there won't be any counter attack. You can always see whether or not someone counterattacks in the preview of the amount of damage that you will take. The last option for any form of duelist is to simply tank the damage, which I end up doing here with Laughing Deer. If you do have trinkets that automatically let you heal on kill, then really the damage of the enemy isn't that big of a concern to begin with. So that's all you need to know. I hope the 10 and 1 bonus tip for Hard West were helpful for you. If they were, leave a comment and a like down below, and let me know which tip was most helpful for you. Thanks a lot, and see you all in the next guide. Bye bye.